Welcome to today's lesson of What's Your Question? Today we'll be looking at the risks and benefits of new inventions and the reasons why they're important. Before we do that, I've got a starter question for you to have a think about. Just spend a couple of minutes, pause the video here and have a think about this question. Tell me, what do you think a risk is? And give me an example of a risk. Pause the video, have a think, or you can write down what you think as well, or you can put it in the comments underneath and give me an example if you want to as well. Okay, so a risk is something dangerous, something negative about something. How could it possibly negatively affect you? An example of this is if I was going to stick said fork in a plug, my risk there is it's going to give me an electric shock. If I was going to go and buy something, my risk could be that I'm spending too much money and I then can't pay my mortgage. So risks are some things that can make your life a bit more difficult. I've placed the objectives here for you to look at, and those objectives are: you'll need to describe how to assess the impact of an invention or discovery. We're then going to describe which types of groups might need to be considered when you're developing these things, when you're discovering something or making a new invention or changing the use of your invention. And then you need to explain how you would reach a decision about what you're going to do as well. When we're making new discoveries, often we'll start off trying to use them one way and have to swap what we're doing with them. Examples of this are everywhere. Coke used to be used to help people with morphine addiction. It used to contain cocaine. People who were addicted to morphine would drink Coke to make it so that they could get over their morphine addiction. Bubble wrap was used as wallpaper to start with. That's what was invented. It wasn't until after they realised no one wanted to buy it, they started using it in packaging. Listerine mouthwash was originally a surgical antiseptic, a surgical antiseptic, until they realised how good it was at making people's breath smell nice. Lasers, which were developed for several things to use in science, were changed to be used in barcodes in some cases. They are still used in science a lot of ways, but also being used as barcodes. And Play-Doh was originally invented to help you pick stuff off walls. Now, many of these things, when they were invented, will have removed jobs from people, will have affected people's lives in lots and lots of ways you would never possibly have imagined. And when this is happening, people have to think of the risks and benefits of creating those things and using them. And today we're going to talk about all the different things you'd need to think about when it comes to deciding whether your invention should be used or shouldn't be used. When we make these decisions, it's really important that we think about all the different possible groups that could be affected by our new inventions. You need to think about how it's going to affect the owner. Is it going to change their life in a big way? Will it have a large negative effect or a large positive effect? Obviously, if there's a negative effect, you're probably not going to build that thing. How are you going to affect people who are producing similar products? If you take the example of an electric car, how are you going to affect people that are making the other electric cars? Are you going to put all of them out of business? What's going to happen to them? You need to think about the jobs involved. Are you going to destroy people's jobs? Are you going to make people homeless? Are they going to lose their jobs? They're going to lose their homes because they can't do that? If you're going to ruin people's lives, is it okay for you to make that thing, and should you do it? How is it going to affect the environment in terms of the air quality and the animals that lives in those places? If your invention is going to ruin the air quality in those places or make it worse than it already is, again, is that something you think you should be doing? You should consider the cost to yourself, to people using it, and to society as a whole. Is it going to cause people to end up in hospital more? Is it going to mean that people will need to spend extra money every year to do something else to it? If it's too expensive, it may not be worth you doing it. And finally, the financial consequences for those people who are affected by these things need to be considered as well. I know this sounds similar to money, but you're talking about any negative financial issues that are caused by this. I had to think of all these things when we purchased our house. It's one of the main times, one of the biggest times you have to make a decision like this, because it's probably the biggest purchase that you'll make in your whole lives. We had to make it a big decision with ours because it's right next to a mobile phone mast. So when we made the decision to purchase a house, we had to look into the research to find out how the mobile phone mast was supposed to affect our health. A lot of people seem to think those mobile phone masts are dangerous and make people very, very ill. But after looking into the research and the science behind all those things, the scientific opinion is that these things do not have a negative effect on our health in any real way. And that's the reason why we then could ignore it and choose to purchase our house, because we know that thing is safe and is not something we need to worry about. Okay, so if I was going to organise this so I could properly answer the question, I'd put it in a table like this one, and I'd make sure I put all the groups down the left-hand side of the table that I'm going to talk about. I'd make sure I fill it with all the risks for those groups, all the benefits for those groups. This means that I could best see the risks and benefits for each group, the total risks and benefits, and if it's worthwhile us doing this at all, because obviously if there are too many risks, it's not going to be worth a specific person actually doing these things. Again, it's really important to make sure that you plan out how you're going to explain and make your decision in the first place, and that's going to be using a table like this to justify it. Might be worth writing out, or just in your head trying to list out what are the risks, what are the benefits, but that's how we basically are going to make decisions on these things. Thanks very much for watching. Make sure you stay safe, stay alert, stay curious, and subscribe.